This is our final research presentation. We are Group 4, Gaylord Agency. I'm Caroline Blevins.
I'm Sage Greenhouse.
I'm Grace Whitmill.
And I'm Caitlin Long.
Okay, so starting with our executive summary. So in our secondary research assignment, we focused on the problem statement of our key publics, the internal and external strengths and weaknesses of OKC, our key publics broken down, and a SWOT analysis of the city so that you could see like the strengths and weaknesses a little bit clearer. Our focus group results, we found from our focus group that the majority of our participants were not likely to stay in OKC after graduating unless they had a job opportunity. So the majority of them would prefer maybe going back home to where they're from or like the state that they came from and looking for a job opposed to like Oklahoma City. And then our survey results, we found from our survey that many participants were unlikely to stay in OKC permanently due to the lack of public transportation and safety. So there were a few things that they felt we needed to implement that would affect them staying in OKC or not. And two of those big things were the lack of public transportation and them feeling relatively unsafe. And then a few findings and suggestions that we found were user-generated content and updating social media accounts for OKC, because we found that Oklahoma City didn't have very good and up-to-date social media accounts. So we feel like that would help attract our key publics to the city. Okay, so moving on to secondary research findings. The background was our problem statement, and basically our problem statement just stated that we wanted to keep our key publics, which was like ages 21 to 25, recently graduated from a college in Oklahoma, to stay in Oklahoma City after graduating and hopefully look for or find a job in OKC. Internal, so the internal performance that OKC does well at, Oklahoma City provides cheaper houses on average. And I think it says right here that OKC is 15.4% below the national average. So that could be a key factor in keeping people after graduation in Oklahoma. Internal strengths, Oklahoma City is located in the middle of the state. So the location is an advantage of maybe people coming from like Texas or like all over. It's just easily accessible. Internal impediments, so things that Oklahoma City is known for, but not very good. So crime rate, there's a fairly high crime rate and increasing public transportation. So someone mentioned something about a car culture and how our key publics would probably use public transportation. So that's something we could work on implementing. And then external competition would be larger cities such as like Dallas, Chicago, New York City. External impediments, so weather, Oklahoma has really unpredictable weather, so that could be something that would affect someone moving to Oklahoma City. And then external opportunities would be location and job opportunities.
So moving on to our publics, when looking at the 4 types of publics, starting with the customers of Oklahoma City are not necessarily all traditional customers. The majority of them are residents and students enrolled in universities in and around the metro area. And in a more limited sense, traveling visitors are also customers. So tourists, business travelers, sports teams, things like that. The producers include current residents of Oklahoma City, companies in the large area, and state governments. And then just to move on to some of our key publics, they include recent graduates and young Cleveland County residents within the age range of 21 to 25. And preferably they're originally from out of state, but they are aware of OKC because they attend the university or they live in the area. And they're kind of within that apathetic aware range where they may be indifferent to jobs and things in Oklahoma or are interested in Oklahoma City, or they are aware and they are just not pursuing that further. So to move on to our situation analysis. some of the things that we found from that are that the public moves away from Oklahoma after college because they do not quite know the amenities Oklahoma City has to offer them post-grad. And a majority of the focus group participants and survey takers reported receiving their information about OKC from word of mouth, telling us that there is a lack of advertising and social media presence coming out of Oklahoma City that needs to be worked on. There was also a lot of positive response toward perceptions of OKC's cleanliness, diversity, and entertainment, while there was more of a negative attitude toward Oklahoma City's level of safety. And then in a more condensed version of our SWOT analysis, our strengths lied in that OKC has a lower cost of living, but there are high crime rates and poor social media and online reach. And Oklahoma City is continually growing. So for opportunities, it's able to feel larger than it really is. And with 14 different sections, there is something for each person out there. But there are also larger cities like Dallas, Chicago, and New York, and even Tulsa in Oklahoma that entice more grads than Oklahoma City does itself.
So moving on to the methods of our other research. First is the focus group. So our intended participants for the focus group were OU upperclassmen ages 20 to 25, and our actual participants were 4 OU seniors in the age of 21. And our research questions that we were trying to answer with the focus group in the survey were, how aware are current upperclassmen at the University of Oklahoma of the opportunities that OKC has to offer them? And what is OKC doing currently that appeals to current college students? And how does OKC appeal to current college students regarding their future career and opportunities that can be afforded them there? After conducting the focus group in Gaylord during class, we found that most of our participants liked Oklahoma City for the entertainment value, that there were a lot of good restaurants. One of our participants said that anytime their parents come, they bring them to downtown OKC to go eat. But something that was keeping them away from staying in Oklahoma City permanently is that they didn't feel connected to the city. They didn't have family, or they didn't have a job that was tying them there, so they felt more comfortable moving back home or moving somewhere where they had those connections. And also just poor advertising on the city's part, where the participants didn't feel that they knew a lot about Oklahoma City from the city themselves. Most of what they had obtained was from word of mouth or just from their friends or experiencing it themselves. So to dive deeper into those, we conducted the survey. There it is. And our survey method was an online survey, and we distributed it through email and through group chats that we were in with other OU students. Our intended participants were, again, OU upperclassmen, so juniors and seniors between the ages of 20 to 25, and our actual participants based on our demographic questions were freshmen through seniors between the ages of 19 through 24, with a couple of outliers in there. And our research question that we wanted to ask based off the focus group was, how could OKC better advertise job opportunities, possible careers, and the different industries it has to offer? In our different sections of the survey, our first one was awareness, and that was question 5, and it asked participants how satisfied they were with the amenities OKC has. And with that, we asked if they thought Oklahoma City was modern. We asked if they thought it was clean. We asked if it was diverse, if it was successful, and if there were benefits living in OKC. And what we found, if you look at the standard deviation, is that most people along those lines were moderately satisfied with all of OKC and its amenities. And they weren't, none of them seemed to be like super unsatisfied with it or very satisfied. It was mainly moderately satisfied. And with the perception, we asked with question 18 if they would disagree or agree with the following statements, and those were the moderately clean, diverse, in its response to the needs of the city. And again, we found that most people agreed and were pretty satisfied with those things. And then with behaviors, we asked what might stop you from looking for a job in OKC, and our options were location, salary, political affiliation. Those are the things that we had given them options, but we also gave them an option to write one in. And our most common response with the written in answer is that they felt they had a real lack of job opportunity or career choice in Oklahoma City. And it wasn't because Oklahoma City doesn't offer it, it was just that they had never heard about it. And with our inferential statistics, our first hypothesis was that we thought those who live in state, live in Oklahoma City and go to school in Oklahoma City would be more likely to live in Oklahoma afterwards. And our null hypothesis was that out of state residents then would not be as likely to live in Oklahoma as our in state residents. And that was proven true, with in state residents being way more likely to live in Oklahoma City after graduation and out of state residents being a lot less likely. With the desire to move to OKC, for in-state residents, their standard deviation was about 1.25, and the out-of-state residents, theirs was about 1.07, which is a lot greater than the other one. There.
Okay, and now moving on to our discussion. So we wanted to look at one of our major findings, and that came from the topic of the likeliness that participants would stay in OKC post-graduation. And we really found that there were not great odds, and most pointed towards them leaving or going to another city back home after they graduated from a university in Oklahoma. So from our research, it was discovered that most of our participants had a lack of knowledge about the career opportunities that were offered in OKC. Participants have felt that their career paths would not thrive nor be available in this city, and most agreed that they really came to Oklahoma for clout rather than seeing their livelihood begin and end here. So they already had seen it as temporary coming in. And so overall, participants have felt positive towards OKC in general, but they have expressed that they don't receive reliable information about the city and what it can offer them after graduation. And that is from a lot of them have said that they receive information word of mouth, which that could seem unreliable to some. And then after further discussion, it was also agreed upon that while this all may be true, a more accurate survey method could have been used in sampling, which would have given us a more accurate response. Having an online survey and not being on campus didn't allow us to truly select participants that we wanted. And we originally wanted students that were from out of state, but some that participated in our study were from in-state, so we could have had more accurate results in that regard. And then moving on to suggestions, because our target audience has been and is constantly being influenced by social media, we feel that this is the largest and most effective change the city can make to increase the rate of out-of students making OKC their home permanently. So participants have stated that they do not have an accurate or reliable information about the city and what it has to offer, and they receive most of their information by word of mouth. We have suggested that OKC utilize social media and engage the public in that way, which will entice more students to stay. So we've listed out some tangible suggestions, and those are to host job fairs downtown, so people have to actually venture out to the city, submerge themselves in it, and get familiar with the surrounding area. Have businesses get in contact with current Oklahoma college students on their campus, sending out job employment scouts from careers in the Oklahoma City area to schools to help them to be more engaged and understand what Oklahoma City has to offer them career-wise. And then also utilizing user-generated content on social media accounts, which would really boost engagement. You can have giveaways, tag 3 friends, do this and you'll get a free slice of pizza from said restaurant in OKC, having more followers come in, more people to be engaged with the city ultimately. And then the easiest and most basic form is posting flyers, posters, and brochures around college campuses in the area about their job opportunities in the city, among other things. And so we really feel that utilizing social media is going to make a great change and allow the city to continue on their mission statement to support the growth of Oklahoma City. And this concludes our final research presentation. So we just wanted to say thank you for a great semester and for listening to our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.